Banner just represents all the hard work that you did. You can't take it away. It can never be erased. It's just like a piece of history that just stands there, and it's a testament to the team's ability to like overcome any obstacle, you know, like to compete at the highest level. And a lot of the time there's a story behind it. It's not just like a team's logo and a number. For me, it's like a lot of memories, and I hope the fans, they look at those banners and they think, wow, what an insane ride that was.
Doublelift has won an NALCS championship on 2 different squads, looking to do it on a 3rd here with Team Liquid this split. Hello and welcome back for Game 3 of Team Liquid versus Cloud9. We want to take a closer look at the developing champion select meta in this best of series, as that's what a lot of playoffs can sometimes become about, right? Is that meta within the series itself. And so taking note from both your win conditions as well as what you've seen in the first 2 games, where are you guys feeling or sitting right now when it comes to the way these 2 teams have been navigating the draft?
Well, it felt like C9 kind of skipped my 2-step plan and just went to the 2nd step, where it's attacking Impact in the top lane. They're going for this triple ban strategy. They try getting some counter picks. You know, they had the Swain early on. This time they blind the Fiora because, like, you're only going to play a tank, and they're trying to attack you. But it feels like TL are a little bit prepared for it, and they haven't really gone for the control bot lane strategy, which hasn't even looked that good on TL's side, to be honest.
Yeah, and I think Team Liquid is actually not winning through their early game plans. They're more winning because of their ability to play the mid and late game, which is you don't really have a win condition of like, oh, be better at macro. That's just how you kind of get better at the game. What I think is interesting is C9 has used all of their Phase 1 bans on Impact.
Yes.
Every single one, both games. They've banned Ornn, Cho'Gath, and Sion. And when I was looking at how Team Liquid had found success against Cloud9, it was with first pick Ryze, or even first pick Swain against some other teams, because they just get Pobelter, one of those 2 champions, and they get a lot of mid-game teamfight control. So I understand why Cloud9 is doing it, because they're afraid of Impact, but it hasn't been working.
Well, it's also what they did when they were most successful in the regular season during like those 8.3, 8.2 meta days, but it's just not working this time around. Impact's playing mostly fine. Even when TL was attacking the top lane, neither team is attacking the top side very effectively in the series, so I expect to see a little less priority up there, even in-game decision-making wise.
We talk about those 3 bans from Cloud9. On the blue side, after throwing out those 3 bans, they did choose to take that Ryze away. Team Liquid, though, back on blue side for Game 3, and so, you know, the question will remain, does Ryze continue to fall into the hands of the blue side team, or is there some kind of finagling Cloud9 can do in order to prevent that from happening, or at least counter?
Well, one of the most interesting things about that Ryze is, I don't know whether it's disrespect to Pobelter or an over-focus on Impact, but they don't let anyone else play Ryze other than TL. They've banned it 7 other times against other teams, and here they got it this game. They left it up in Game 1, and then the tiebreaker games and the ones that they're playing in Week 9, they also gave it to TL.
Yeah, and I think it has to do with how much they're focused on making sure Impact isn't beating Licorice or trying to take Team Liquid out of that game, which, to be fair, when Impact hasn't been playing well, it has been a huge detriment to Team Liquid. So having Impact on a stable champion is really important. Where I think Cloud9 has to switch it up, though. Right, Dash?
Right. I mean, you're looking at this, you're saying, okay, 2 games in a row, we've attacked with a similar strategy. Impact still has found at least 2 other champions, and we can argue the degrees of success to which he played it individually. The fact of the matter is, Team Liquid came out with the victories. And so when you've got your back against the wall, you got to throw 3 wins together in a row if you want to move on to the semifinals. For Cloud9, you got to change it up.
In some ways, and I think Doublelift is kind of where you want to look for that. They haven't been dominant in lane. We've kind of highlighted that a little bit already. But in the late game, with this Caitlyn pick, he is a monster around objective control and team fighting, and is pumping out the damage for his team. He's also, with the focus on top side, usually going in even in lane or losing relatively gracefully. And Ole's not playing great down there, so you might be able to attack the bot lane more here for C9 side.
All right, so yeah, what do we want to see from C9 here on red side, specifically in the ban phase, as we're going to move into champion select in moments?
Right, there's a chance they just triple ban the tanks again, but if they want to switch it up, I think they just drop every single one of their tank bans, and they let some swap of those Sion, Ornn, Cho'Gath things be on both sides.
Okay.
They should throw bans into Ryze, Skarner, and then either Caitlyn or Swain. Just get rid of those power picks as much as possible.
That's what we want to see. As we move into champion select, we'll see what Cloud9 gives us.
And it's an Ornn.
Ornn's already off the table, so it looks like they might be sticking to their guns.
Well, so they don't need to go quite for the triple tank ban. You can still ban 1 or 2 tanks out and then pick up something else. So I think Ryze is the critical one that they want to get rid of, because that feels like a problem for them, just with their macro being worse than Team Liquid.
Right.
The Skarner you can potentially pick away or leave it up. Smithy hasn't looked dominant with it. Caitlyn, much the same way, you can potentially take it away in the first phase. So we'll have to see if they change it up, but it feels like they're going triple bans the same way.
I think at this point, you're going to see the Scion ban.
Yeah.
And Team Liquid has no incentive to change the bans from the first game since they've been blue side again. Like,
So you would expect the Olaf, there it is.
yeah, and like, I didn't actually think in game 1 that Team Liquid had an amazing composition when they had the double power picks of Swain and Ryze, but also if they win the early game, they run over that game.
I mean, so you would assume, and rightfully so, that the Swain still comes through first pick, as we've just seen by Team Liquid. And now the question is whether or not C9 is going to pivot from game 1 or try and run it back and let that Skarner Ryze go through.
I think you can look at how successful they were in the early game and kind of feel like.
Oh my God, they're going to do it.
It could be a rubber match.
They're gonna do
There's
it.
a chance this is that BM draft where they do the exact same things. Like,
No.
Well, I mean, we talk about TL's early game not being great, so maybe they're the ones who change it up. I would like to see one of the two teams change it up because it clearly favored TL's macro in the late game, and so TL can either try and simplify it a little bit, but with Ryze up and how good it's been for Pobelter, I feel like Team Liquid have a really hard time walking away from that pick.
I agree, and we're seeing if this is going to switch to a Skarner in the last second because that would be something to switch up. It doesn't
There it
happen.
is.
Then
So Skarner
the
Ryze.
Skarner goes right away, and then the question is, do they do Ryze or do they try and preempt the Gnar? Because they would know if this is the same as the game 1 draft, which it has been up until this point.
interesting
This is
point.
how you disrupt it, but I mean,
I would be scared because they
just
do have.
pick Ryze, man.
Yeah, they have the ability to take things like Camille into Gnar and you get more volatile matchups. Swain's really good in the top lane, and even though Impact was missing his combos, when he landed the root, he would put his W on top of where he was and then pull him forward.
Switching off the Ryze.
Wow.
Because if you don't,
I don't like it.
Well, we'll see. They might.
I don't like it. They're not. They're not.
Wow,
changing it.
they're going with this
'Cause
gear.
the Ryze was so good.
make that pick make sense for me. Why or where is that better than a Ryze?
Potentially, if they
damage
go with the
prediction,
Gnar again here, like you can help push them out of team fights or something. They already have the Ori pick, so it's not like you have to worry about the other team getting the Ryze. And Azir
This feels
does
weird
well
to me
with the Ori.
because if we're looking at Skarner like Swain, this is not high CC comp. Like I don't feel like where is Azir getting your attacks in?
They're more likely to go Jhin if they have Azir.
Okay.
Last time there was a bunch of support bans in the second phase here. There was a Janna ban because Team Liquid didn't want to have C9 get Janna Ori. C9 ended up taking Tom Kench.
Yeah, they banned Morg Braum on the C9 side.
Yeah, Azir is kind of the DPS god of team fights, and that's where Jhin would struggle against tanks. So Azir gives you the tank busting that Ryze doesn't. So they could go Jhin here if they want.
All right, continuing to follow the game 1 bans and picks, Morgana off the table. They would assume a Janna and Alistar bans from Team Liquid then and a Braum ban for themselves. Again, we're going to continue to track any differences between game 1 and game 3.
The other things to look out for are the support positions, just because Ole, with the Nami and the Morgana, has died early in a lot of situations, whether it's getting ward control or trying to start and engage fights. So maybe Team Liquid's willing to take another tank here. One of the things the Ryze did in the previous team comp was provide some extra tankiness that they weren't going to get from a lane-dominant support like a Nami or Morgana. So now if you're going the Azir, this might be telegraphing a tankier support pick on the side of Team Liquid.
So what are you looking at, though? You're looking at
Tarek,
Alistar's already off, so you're looking at Tarek or Tom Kench, and Tom Kench is what C9 picked up in the first game, so that would assume Tarek then going over if
Something
C9
like that,
continues to be
potentially.
stubborn,
It
right?
could. And the thing is, C9 had that
Kate
7,000
banned,
gold
so they
lead
swap it up.
finally. Oh, well, and then this, if they're going to have Kate banned this early,
You take
there's a
Jhin.
chance that they take Jhin early, but that also allows Team Liquid to take Tom Kench. So at least they've deviated with something,
Right.
which is good. But what's weird is C9's down 0-2. If they're not going to deviate with the dropping the triple tank bans, they had the 7,000 gold lead in game 1. They might be okay running most of the bans.
And to be fair to C9, they don't need to. It's actually, I think, smart thinking about it a little bit more. They don't need to ban the Caitlyn in the first rotation because Team Liquid's not putting that high of an emphasis on it.
Yeah.
So you can wait to the second phase and expect them to still take these priority. There's so many priority picks.
Well, yeah, because who in their right mind isn't going to take those picks, right?
Right,
Like,
there's so many priority picks up in the first phase. There's no way Caitlyn slots in there, so I can understand C9 leaving it up there, but the triple tank ban still raises question marks around things like the Skarner and, and the Swain and the Ryze.
And the Caitlyn means that the Braum is available where it wasn't available in
Yes.
game 1. So a big pick here for Smoothie. We'll see what he can do with it. Now the response for Team Liquid.
And the Jhin is a little scary here. It's not. It's good against Team Liquid's team comp, and it's not great into C9. So it makes it feel like Team Liquid doesn't really want it, but doesn't want C9 to get it at this point.
Yeah, we know how effective the Jhin can be against low tank teams. He just opens up and everyone has to run away. Yeah, TK Jhin would make sense, especially with the Azir for more DPS.
Yeah, so this is a bit of a pick away from C9, but C9 has Braum to block some of the stuff. Sejuani can body block. Gnar, if he's not in a split push situation, can help body block.
And
So
Sneaky just plays Ezreal again, like game 2, because now you got Caitlyn off the table along with Varus and Jhin. what is your source of recourse here?
I mean, play Trist if he wants to.
Yeah,
Ezreal makes more sense.
Ezreal's very strong. It is a little weak into Jhin, or at least it had been in the past.
Yeah.
But with the Braum to make it up, you'll be fine.
So we do have some slight differences between games 1 and game 3 here. With the remaining time that we have as Ezreal's locked in, I kind of want to get your guys' thoughts on, who came out ahead here. What are the win conditions for teams based on the compositions they've built? In particular for Cloud9, of course, they're the ones who are looking to start their reverse sweep here. Team Liquid just looking to close it out, but they get 3 tries to do so.
I like Team Liquid's. I think it's a lot easier to patch up some early game mistakes than late game mistakes. And we've seen Team Liquid outperforming C9 in the late game. They have more tankiness in their team comp now, especially around the bot lane, which should help out Ole's pickoffs in the early and mid game. So I like what they've done.
Yeah, and I think if C9 is to win, you got to.
That's a bad sign.
You got to kill
That's a
double
bad sign right there.
They have been able to get mid-game leads even if their composition hasn't shown it. So it's more about just being able to actually control objectives in the middle late game, which is really hard to do against Jhin and Tahm Kench at this point. So
would you argue that the first 2 games were not decided by draft, and rather were decided by the play within the game, the macro, as these 2 teams had it? One more time, taking a look at the Rift, the players on it, and the champions rather that they'll be piloting here in game 3 of our best of 5. Cloud9 looking to strike back, pick up at least 1 win, and propel themselves to a game 4, possible game 5. We'll see if they can do it. Again, we've kind of highlighted the grimness of the situation and the unlikelihood of the victory, but
Dash, remember C9 had a 7,000 gold lead in game 1, a 3,500 gold lead in game 2.
Yep.
If they just win this game, they gain a lot of momentum back, get blue side back for game 4, and could easily force a game 5. It's still an interesting series.
They are a fairly veteran team with a very veteran coach, so we'll see if what they've done in the break between game 2 and game 3 is enough. Time to throw it back out to the guys to give us the call.
Thank you very much, Dash. Welcome to the game. Will it be the Team Liquid clean sweep, or will they be forced to play a game number 4? Cloud9 have had early game leads, but have tossed them away time and again. Liquid's mid to late game macro has consistently been better.
And while I do think that there are questions that can be raised about the draft, as the guys on the desk were saying, it's also worth pointing out that at the end they did have gold leads in game 1, in game 2.
Well, let us know. Audience, read at the bottom of the screen, YouTube, Twitch, wherever you are, say TL, say C9, and we'll let you know how you all voted for those who don't want to read other people's Twitch chat, which I don't blame you for.
And meanwhile, if you're looking at how, everybody won some more games here. And Cloud9, I think that if they, Team Liquid's coming back.
Steve's getting in there, he's dropping some cash in the chat.
That was pretty quick, actually. Very quick bank transfers. Cloud9, though, I think they really do have a good chance at actually focusing bottom side. If Svenskeren can get some early moves off, Cloud9 can definitely play offensive early on in the game. I think, focusing Ole, trying to get the Braum stun passives on this Tahm Kench is a viable option. But Smithy has done a very good job of kind of negating Svenskeren early on in this series. So maybe we'll see this Skarner clear speed in action once again, and if they just focus on that, then he could just farm out the minion lead.
Absolutely right here. 1 CS so far missed for double up, perfect for Sneaky. Doesn't mean a whole lot in the grand scheme of things, as early shove also comes in for Poe Belter and denies quite a few minions away from Jensen. Once again, the same top lane matchup is over in game 1, where Impact had the early game lead on Licorice, but eventually was out farmed. It was Liquid's macro though that won that game at the end of it all. First to 0 this series is going to be fun to watch for as Poe continues to push in. We'll see if Jensen can have the impact he wanted to have so far this series.
And this is very interesting because, the kind of different journeys that these 2 teams have taken throughout the year. When you look at TL at the start of the year, the expectations were extremely high with all these big ticket pickups. And then C9 on the other side of the table, the reaction from fans was pretty disappointed. There wasn't any superstar signings. It was this guy Licorice that a lot of people were kind of uncertain about. And they're the ones who came out of the gates a lot harder and a lot hotter, but it is really significantly cooled off.
Yeah, the first half of the split for Cloud9 was outstanding, and everyone was like, oh my god, yes, Licorice was such a great pickup, and they really proved a lot of the doubters wrong. Definitely dropping off in the second half of the spring split, and it looks like it's continued here into playoffs. Now this is where you have to make your last stand. You're down 0-2 in the series with not a lot of time left to play.
C9 has had such a storied history. They have been so good at consistently making it far in playoffs, making it to the finals, making it to Worlds, all these sorts of things. And they're definitely not going to be satisfied, without even getting to the third, fourth place match, without even getting to a semifinal.
It's been a long time since Cloud9's really been shut out of the season so much, but might be the case here. The most famous example was a couple years ago. They got 7th and still made it to Worlds. That was a summer back when High was the jungler.
But the gauntlet run
yeah.
for the ages.
But of course, that was several years ago, and Cloud9's consistently done better since then. Of course, the opposite was Liquid, which were a 9th place team not long ago, and we'll look to make it at least to the semifinals pretty soon.
Yeah, Doublelift making an early appearance on Team Liquid.
Right.
Yeah.
Before joining this split, actually, and he had success both times. Honestly, this guy cannot be denied in the North American LCS. He's played in the league so long and consistently found success.
And he's one of the only guys, win on multiple orgs, right? He's won with 2 organizations, and he is on the hunt for his 3rd organization with a win here, which would be extremely impressive. And Doublelift was pretty vocal about the fact that they were a good team and they would show it in playoffs.
And they're looking for more to do well on the top side of the map as Predator was popped, but Xmithie not going to find himself the gank. Just a trade of blows on the top side as Licorice continues to just go back and forth against Impact there. Back to his jungle he goes.
Yep, trading off the Skarner Spire there and returning to farm it right back up. Meanwhile, it's pretty consistent in the farm across the board, but even though Sneaky and Smoothie are getting pushed in right now, he has done a good job of actually acquiring the last hits, and he'll gain a very, very small CS lead. If he gets the last one, okay, the smallest of CS leads.
Oh, he's up 1 minion.
Insurmountable.
This is an unlosable game. Just go to game 4. You know what? It's over. Sorry, guys. We read the script already. We know how it goes. Into the top lane goes the Teleport Catalyst. Once again, similar build for Impact here in this one.
I want to mention the bottom lane again, though, because, Braum passive definitely can be capitalized on early in the game, and Sven is making a visit.
They've got the slow and double up. There's the chomp up. Nice flash by Ole. Hops right over Sejuani's boar.
That was really well done there from Ole. A nice attempt at a gank. They get the 1 summoner off of the support, and they could look to repeat on him, but it's a tough kill.
It's actually a very important summoner because, like I was mentioning before, Tahm Kench is the one you kind of want to target when you're looking for the kill in this lane. And Ole has had some moments in the game where he's out of position. Meanwhile, though, River Fight.
A battle. It's a 1-level lead for Xmithie, but there's no Spire to be had. So now Jensen is here, and he's going to wait for the flash to get away. There he jumps across, and Jensen ball on. Not going to get that one, but he will slow poke. No flash comes out yet. Oh, nicely played. He holds on to the longer cooldown, tanks the blows, and ults him out.
Yeah, he's going to have to start chugging his potion, though, because the damage was dealt. There are now 2 flashes blown from Team Liquid in both the kind of play-making champions. Here we go, though. Smoothie goes in again.
The damage does stick on Doublelift, but doesn't mean all that much. He's still reasonably healthy in the back line. As the shove comes in for TL, a nice swag backwards Q, and this is actually pretty meaningful now on a Smoothie. Forced to run away, and it actually interrupts the recall out of Sneaky as a result.
Sneaky will have a pretty nice base here, though. He has enough gold for Sheen plus the tier, which is always going to be a really good feeling. But Smoothie getting really low, and if TL can force him to actually stick around, it can get pretty awkward, as those base timings can force you to give up some more minions. And it looks like C9 are just going to accept that they'll have to lose probably at least half a wave here and just go back to base now.
And Smithy was hanging around there, though, but his flash was blown, so he didn't want to really overextend and possibilities of counter ganking coming through. And Team Liquid are just going to have the shove here to try and keep Sneaky pinned at the turret, while Smoothie's gone back, gets a little bit more refillables, or excuse me, consumables for himself to try and stay in lane a bit longer.
This becomes a slightly more awkward recall, though, for TL because they're pushing in a cannon wave. It takes them longer to clear it, and it should actually give a little bit of a nicer respite for Sneaky as he gets rid of the wave. He won't lose quite as much the next one after. BF Sword Boots comes in, and TL are going to be able to walk back to the lane shortly.
Yeah, and the junglers getting their level 6 ultimates available. These are definitely big playmaking ones, and Sven still with that flash advantage. Probably would want to use it on the bottom side of the map where Cloud9 did get the summoner spells already blown. But as of right now, Team Liquid kind of holding it just fine.
And there is still a pretty good opportunity to go for Pole Belter because he is using the heal instead of a cleanse. So if you can actually catch him, with a shockwave into a Sejuani ultimate or any sort of CC chain, there is an opportunity to knock him down. But a lot of ability to outplay that too on Azir.
Interestingly, did choose to bring heal himself, by the way, not running cleanse for the Sejuani or Braum that could be ganking him later on in the game. And of course, with Comet, he can't change that around. Kobe might have to go for a Quicksilver Sash later on if he wants to be afraid of that kind of stuff. We are back into the lane. A Cole picked up alongside the mana items for Sneaky, so that'll be more of a mid-game spike as a result.
Yeah, it looks like they're just going to focus on farm on the bottom side. Meanwhile, if you take a look at all the vision of Team Liquid on the top side, they've really focused on keeping the river clear as well as the jungle entrances for Impact here up on the Swain. Yes, the champion has had a lot of power, put into it recently, but still he doesn't have, the mobility spells for escaping. And they're just trying to keep enough vision up there so he continually try and shove in Licorice on the Gnar.
And it has been a much more kind of stable top lane this time around, much more passive early game as these two teams are kind of feeling each other out a bit more. But Impact, again, is electing to just go straight for the Rod of Ages. We saw he did not go back for a tier in the previous Swain game. Likely not going to do it this time around either, but if Licorice does have more of an even or even advantageous early stages, we saw how he can start to take over in that 1v1 later on once he has some MR, plus the Black Cleaver, plus even an Execution.
Yeah. Even though people have the Singe game very fresh in their minds, where Impact was really taking over and making his presence felt. In game number 1, Licorice on the Gnar actually had a very decent showing himself, especially as far as the side lanes went a little bit later on. The teleport coordination, though, later on in the game is kind of where it did come into play for Cloud9, and they really got stalled out.
And the play around Baron in general, right, which is kind of that linking piece, that has been where they've forced out a lot of advantages, forcing Licorice into TP in when maybe he wouldn't have wanted to.
Here we go, now some pressure from the bot side, a slow onto Ole. They actually got Flash and Cleanse available, so it could be pretty easy. Going to be going for the knockup. There's the stun. Actually cleanses early, but it's the pull back in. Smoothie might just lose his life. One more attack could kill him. He's running away, and the first blood does come through to Ole. Sneaking to run right out as the curtain call kind of went the wrong direction. But now Ole brings in some reinforcements. However, Sven finds the slow, and there is no chase to be had.
Smithy in the right place at the right time again, comes in for the counter gank there, and they're able to turn it around on Smithy.
Yeah, a little bit of an overextension there for Cloud9. You could tell they really wanted to punish Ole, but as Freak said, the timer had passed for the flash, and even if he was able to get that, the flash was back up for Ole, could have gotten it afterwards. Meanwhile, Team Liquid happy to get that early gold in their pockets. They won't have to be dealing with such a big Cloud9 early game as we've seen previously in this series.
Yeah, and here it is again, full commitment onto Ole, but he has that cleanse, and Smoothie just gets it turned around on Smithy, pulling him right in, so much damage going out, and able to knock down that support pretty quickly.
And now they're going to try for the Mountain Drake here. Svenskeren does have the E auto attack plus smite available when he wants it. Smithy can jump with the Blast Cone. He's got smite as well, but does he want to trade his life?
Well, he could flash
for a
Blast Cone in and then try and flash out.
That's also true.
And Pobelter is here, they might just fight.
And that's the reset on the Drake. Teleport coming in for Impact, which Cloud9 can see, they know about, and they will choose to keep Licorice in the top lane. So they've got to disengage this now, or somehow find a pick on an Impact. He's on the wrong side of this. He's going to find the root, but he's got to flash away from this one. So 2 summoners down for Impact. The Drake will go to Liquid, no problem. Big play comes out, but a good flash keeps the rest of C9 safe. A lot of health bars low as Sneaky's forced to run away, but Licorice did save the TP, and he got to push the top lane in.
Yeah, not too bad there for TL because they at least got a flash from Jensen, but it is CS and pressure advantage up on the top side, so you're essentially trading some farm, you're trading that TP out for the Dragon. You need to be able to convert on that Mountain Dragon to make that worthwhile.
And in addition to the TP, also impacts Flash, as he was kind of pinned up by the blue buff against the entire Cloud9 team. So C9 have a couple of options now with how they want to proceed with the summoner spell difference. They did lose the dragon, but as you said, some more experience and gold onto Licorice, plus a double summoner spell lead.
That could be very much paid forward if they can find the gank up there. Going towards the Summoner's Hourglass is Impact, but a flashless Swain can be pretty easily killed. The Rod of Age is only at 3 stacks, so not the most durable of champions. See if that does come through. Of course, it was an early tanky build out of Licorice Rushing Spectre's power to survive the lane matchup. Pobelter gets his farm, -3 CS. The blue look to be handed over without any issues. 800 gold lead remains the upgrade here for Team Liquid. The Mountain Drake, of course, in their pockets as well.
The Mountain can be pretty impactful, especially when you do have these mid laners who can really punch down the bear. When you're looking into Zero or Cassio, those are the kind of 2 main culprits, I think, who can really shred through a Baron, and especially how much the series has revolved around the mid and late game play around that objective. Because the early game lead that C9 has been getting have not really amounted to anything in game 1 and 2.
Cloud9 have been unable, I should say, to actually play around those mid games. Would have thought the Roshan breaks would let them, back in game 1, actually play around that more and play a poke-based game, and that didn't come through. Continually, Liquid have played better in that regard. Welter hoping again to prove that he's really a top-tier mid laner. That was what was said at the very beginning of the year. He wanted to prove up against players like Bjergsen and Jensen and say, no, I deserve to be in that top-tier list myself. He was not part of the All-Pro team, but hope he can carry his team to a All-Pro finish here. Looking again, sweep Cloud9, get past Jensen, one of the best mid laners, and square up against his next opponent afterwards in the coming week.
Yeah, so much talk of who will be remembered, as we've seen in all the videos coming out from multiple
I'll remember
players.
you, Kobe, don't worry.
I'll remember you because I see your face every day.
But will you remember me?
Yes.
Okay, that's 50. All right, thanks.
Unfortunately, meanwhile though, the continued objective focus here from Team Liquid coming to play. They've actually rotated away from the bottom turret and are rushing down mid turret. They're trying to make a big push for the first turret bonus gold, and they should be able to get it.
Chunks coming through, and look how far back Jensen is playing. He is not poised to stop any of this. Turret looks like it's going to fall. There we go, gold in the pockets of Liquid.
And it's solo gold to Pobelter. That is, I love to see teams do that because I think splitting the gold is so much less advantageous. So Smithy sees, hey, it's secured, I'll back off. Let's just power up this Azir really quickly.
Yeah, let's go over the game plan here from Team Liquid because it has played out quite nicely. The only real problem for them in this series has been the early game from Cloud9. So you go down the checklist of top lane, they had complete vision control of the river plus the jungle around Impact. So that lane was safe. Mid lane, Pobelter was playing on Azir very well. He used his ultimate to disengage rather than blowing flashes or anything, played very conservatively, so he was fine. And then in the bottom lane, they took cleanse on the Tahm Kench to have double escapes there, and even though it was a little bit dicey there for a while, they were also able to sort of negate any aggression from Cloud9 there. So kind of the full checklist from Team Liquid is, as far as the early game go, has played according to plan, and now it's just, will they get to the late game and try and out macro once again?
Smithy's seen on a ward as he gets rid of the Scryer's Bloom and looks for what might have been happening in that jungle. Pops the blast cone, comes out, and he's heading bot lane, which is something that C9 knows as then he goes back towards the mid side. No gank to be had though down here. Nice sweeper actually reveals they might have been recalling, and that means out they go.
You can also see Sneaky relatively close to catching call 20 more CS, but he's working towards the Triforce here again. So this is the same build from game 2, going for the Triforce, going for the early call, trying to be really strong. And he did get to such a powerful point in the second game, but was never really in a position that he could take over the game, that he could carry, because TL did not make the game about him.
Could be a 3v1 up here. They went by a Ward's Predator pop, and now we see the bot lane is only going to stop the recall. And oh, that's going to be a lot of damage towards Smoothie. He tries to ult, but the shield is up, keeps running away. He should survive the rest of the attacks. Looks like there was no gank to be had on the top lane. Licorice staying alive up here as well.
Yeah, you can see the change in the map movements here from Team Liquid. After the mid turret goes down, so much control is taken away from Cloud9. They had a lot of people roaming up to the top side to threaten Licorice off of the minion wave. Bottom lane as well, stopping the recall there, getting a little bit dicey. Sneaky, though, has returned to take care of the minions, and now it's double lift, going back for his Essence Tree repurchase.
That's a nice pickup right there with the Zeal on top. He's starting to get that CDR going, and even more spam at a Jhin is very strong.
Yeah, definitely the case, and I'm really a fan of this build because it deals with tanks fairly well here too, compared to that of the kind of Ghostblade lethality style build. So it is all around quite powerful, and having that CDR, especially for the ultimate engage, is really, really effective.
Yeah, we've seen the Jhin ultimate being so prominent here around the objective play. And speaking of that, 8 seconds on the next Mountain Drake. Cloud9, though, are the ones that are trying to jump on this one. They've got everybody in position early, placing control wards, even have some behind the Dragon Pit, looking to even up the score.
They're running Licorice down as well, and the Swain of Impact shouldn't be too far off the map. I don't see him top lane. No, he's running back to his own lane, so it would be a teleport required to join this fight. Licorice is here trying to zone the team away. Pobelter and Smithy waiting in the sides. Will they go for the smite? Looks like the teleport's coming in. Can they burn this down? Oh, it's going to be smited, but the flash still came through for Smithy, but gets dropped over the wall and brought a teammate with him. him, but the stun finds Impact. Does not have his Zonias, but he's able to kite away, still very durable. Shockwave is going to pull Poe back in. Meganar won't quite catch him just yet. Pushes right back out the Emperor's Divine. The health bar at 2, and Smoothie jumps in to make sure they can get that kill. Double kites away from the chair to the face, and now he's going to try to run away as the re-engage could be good. A giant slow courtesy of Vision of Empire. The 5 versus 4, Cloud9 able to walk away, but now Curtain Call wants another. Shield up for Smoothie, getting lower and lower. He's going to survive this one as Sneaky takes one more shot. Only looks for the lick, not going to get anything. Out goes Cloud9. Drake plus kill theirs.
Oh my goodness, that steal was at like 13 health, I believe. Svenskeren was trying to combo his permafrost auto proc damage with his smite. Yeah, it was. But Smithy flashed in and got it right after the permafrost plus smite, and he was able to steal it away. That being said, Cloud9 do go for the chase here with Licorice's Meganar coming in.
Yeah, Sejuani did actually secure that, so it is one dragon apiece, but still, that's a very, very close call there, down to 13 HP. And so many little sidesteps in this fight for the Cloud9 members to be able to kind of escape with their lives at the very end, dodging Jin Ws, dodging back and forth.
Must have been like Cinder Hulk burn right afterwards.
Cinder Hulk burn can kill epic monsters.
Oh
so that's probably what happened there.
He calculated that in with his permafrost smite combo.
The wrinkliest of brains,
That was
Svenskeren making it happen. Yeah. All right, that was beautiful. And now we can see as the gold difference, though, 2,400, 2,200 or so. Liquid managing to do it pretty well here, but Sneaky, no one here to stop him on this turret, so about 700 gold will go back towards Cloud9's side as we reset the lanes here. Baron up in 7 seconds, and Licorice has teleport while Impact does not for about 3 minutes, and that is maybe the attempt for a counterplay here. The cleanse used, Naga's coming through, but the quick chomp is in, and Ole going to bring his teammates to safety. But again, Impact cannot join the lanes easily as Licorice can push in the bot side, and actually looking for the duel now as well. How is this fight going to go? Is he able to pop one more time? Licorice getting close to the Mega. Zonia's still not available yet for Impact.
If he caught that boomerang, he maybe could have kept chasing with the slowdown, but missed the catch on the boomerang and is going to have to hold back. Either way, it's Impact who's going to have to back off as a Meganard Licorice walking at you. You are low without an ultimate or flash. That is dangerous.
Meanwhile, Cloud9 also have the presence on top side where they're trying to push top side in, and they have control wards all throughout that river. So Impact sticking around, trying to chug his potion and retain some of this pressure around the bottom turret, not wanting to give up any more ground.
2 minutes and 15 seconds left on the teleport power play. At 23 on the clock, Impact can rejoin the team. That's the timer to watch for. Up until then, Cloud9. Well, I guess actually Licorice is missing his TP as well. I take that back. I didn't realize when he burned it, so I take back the power play call. Either way, Cloud9 are trying to play for this side of the map. The control wards come down, turning off some of the traps, looking for maybe a pick or something.
And the Baron Vision fight is beginning, right? You can see all the vision around that Baron for Cloud9. 3 pinks in the river. They're trying to control this area because they know that so much of the game has revolved around this, and they have been the ones that have been kind of coming out on the wrong side of those trades generally. In Game 1, it's Smithy with the steal. In Game 2, it's TL with just superior macro play and vision control around that. So we'll see if C9 can kind of make some changes, talking to their coaching staff in between games.
Looking for maybe something as Smithy runs up towards the top side, knows where Sven is, but able to find the opening there and kites right back out. Oh, good damage there, and a good block actually by Smoothie as well. This is now a 20-minute game where TL have a gold lead this time around. The previous ones, they were comeback wins. This time, they're in prime position to close out the series.
Yeah, and they want the game in this position to try and continue to make these plays around those big objectives. It's frustrating because both teams right now, you can tell how close the 1v1 in the side lane is between Impact and Licorice, as we just saw. And then the other side, we have QSSs already coming in, Tom Kent's still in the game. Even Smithy himself, the Skarner, going to be getting a QSS and kind of giving the same sort of feeling over to Svenskeren with the cleansable stuns there. Everybody trying to take away the possibility of being picked off and being the reason that the enemy team gets to sit up first around the Baron, try and make that big play.
The wave through is even going the way of TL. You're seeing Cobalt able to push in mid first as Jensen just sits under his turret. He's got a bit more farm, but doesn't always mean that much. Building towards some CDR with probably a Banshee's Veil coming in third. That's what it was last time around. There it is. Blue stolen away though. Povelter gets that one.
And this around this time in the game, in game 1, in this previous Gnar versus Swing matchup, that Licorice was starting to take over. That he was starting to really get advantages. Now the Black Cleaver was completed. He had that adaptive on top of it. So we'll see if he can start to really edge out more of these 1v1s and start putting pressure onto the turrets. If he can, that could do a lot of work for C9 to gain advantage on the map and maybe snowball that into something around the Baron.
Yeah. Meanwhile, if they rely on this sort of play, they have to keep in mind the Abyssal Voyage, the Jhin ultimate opening up, picking people off. So again, we're going to have very scary gameplay around that Fog of War. Sedge ult is used.
Oh, not a lot found by Braum as Ole brings double to safety, but there is some time to knock down this turret. Quick root on the jungler. Now they're re-engaged with Curtain Call, but Smoothie very tanky. Jensen walks in, does not pull the trigger on Shockwave. Ooh. And now doesn't force the flash. Double at 400 HP. Might not be able to fight much more. Top lane is still split on the bot side, but Azir alone in top lane.
Like this aggressive play from Cloud9, forcing it down middle, but Team Liquid are answering in the side lane here. Pobelter, the split push Azir. Man, Sneaky goes in for a burst damage combo, and they are eventually able to get the flash out of Double Lift, but side lane, little friendly exchange here. Nobody gonna get a large amount of priority.
So Walter gets the vision control on that top side of the map. Mountain Drake is alive. Tried to say Elder, and I knew that was wrong. As the Scuttle Crab goes over, Sven grabs it, jumps over the wall, and well, Liquid's going to start it right away. Damage up coming through.
And with Sneaky on the top side of the map, I don't think C9 can really attempt for this, but they are pinging towards Baron, but there's not enough members in the area, I don't think, for them to try to rush. And with double Mountain plus Azir, that Baron can go down so fast. You can two-man it, honestly, pretty comfortably with just a tank and the Azir at that point. So C9 is going to have to pay extra close attention and see that they never let their vision lapse.
Yeah, this squad of veterans on Team Liquid, the expensive roster that they've put together, they've got all their eyes focused on the objectives, and it seems like the game also giving them all the Mountain Drakes and 3 in a row spawning. This is what the game is going to be about.
It's such a funny road for the team because at the very beginning they looked like the actual #1 team. They were speed running for through the second, third, and fourth weeks. It was like, wow, who can even stop this squad? And as we saw in the pregame show, they had such a lax middle of the split where they started falling farther and farther down. They started losing more and more games, but now back on form right when it matters as playoff starts.
And it's kind of interesting because Double was saying, hey, everyone is saying we're getting worse, everyone is saying we're not doing that well, but no, we're just trying things out. We are a really good team, and we'll show that to you in playoffs. And everyone kind of laughs and says, okay, yeah, Double, you always say something like that. But, I mean, here we are, right? They are looking to perhaps 3-0 C9 and show that dominant playoff form that was promised.
Definitely true. I mean, they have 3 previous winners, with Pobelter, Double Lift, and Smithy on that victorious CLG squad. Here we go. Smithy gets a pull.
Looking for the kill on this one. They found the shot line. The knockback is there as well. A good ulti to disengage out of Smoothie, and this will be the team staying alive. A bit of a re-engage towards Oli at half HP, but Gray help will heal him up. Oh, getting low. Nice shots come through, but a good save out of Oli again with Tom Kench keeping him out. Shot does not quite find Azir. Wouldn't have killed anyway, but this does mean now some map control Cloud9's side. They're going right at Baron.
Let's see if they have some more defensive. Okay, they're going to have a little bit of a check here. Sneaky, though, I like his all-ins here on Ezreal. He's playing aggressively, trying to get burst damage, trying to open up some windows for the team to take control of the objectives by pushing people out.
And Licorice getting those advantages on the bottom side of the map, again forcing out the ultimate. Impact has to go back to base to prepare for any potential Baron. That means this will be a turret for Licorice in this side lane, and finally that payoff in this 1v1.
And it's going to come through Adaptive Helm plus the Black Cleaver, and he's going to get this solo turret kill, and maybe, just maybe, Cloud9 can play this slow mid-game and find advantages via Licorice on this side lane. 30 farm up, finally gets the last outer turret of the game and puts the gold at only 1,200 apart. C9 still fighting for Baron control back and forth, and I wonder if this puts pressure on Liquid to find a more aggressive line of play if they'll keep leading the bottom side of the map. Ooh, that's some damage.
Yeah, gets snared up there. Should be okay. Previously, the last week we did see Sneaky on a less mobile carry, the Varus, and Team Liquid continuing and engaging on him. That hasn't been the case so far in this series. Sneaky has been able to keep himself decently safe. Double Lift is the one who has not died the entire series, though.
Yeah, he's been nuts. Cloud9 actually needs some time to themselves. Sneaky right now has money for Blade of the Ruin King, but TL are already starting Baron Nashor again with double Mountain Drake. It's going to be pretty quick to kill. And look how far back Cloud9 are zoned. You mentioned it was doable.
That's the
and there is
right
no
there.
face check. Another route comes in. It cannot be stopped. And the pickup is there, nicely played. Impact in the front line does not yet have the ultimate. The health bar running lower. Ole grabs him, flashes away. His shockwave gets almost nothing.
Fine.
They're looking for the re-engage. Meganar into 2. They're going to find the first kill in the second, only losing 1 so far. C9 looking for the chase down. Impact gets low. Does not have flash. Does not have a way out. The ulti buys a few more seconds as Ole does grab him for a sec, but it doesn't matter. A triple out of Sneaky. Ezra looking for some more kills. The blast cone, but there's nowhere for Ole to go. Make it number 4 for Ezreal. He's going to get the shot. A quadra for Sneaky when Cloud9 needs it most.
And Licorice with a huge teleport behind. The only rookie in all of playoffs comes in with the Mega Gnar, flashes, gets Poe Belter, and is able to stun combo.
And TL go for the decisive Baron play. They actually secure the Baron, but they don't have enough left in the tank to fight afterwards. So here it is, the 2-man Baron play. They secure it, but Impact, no ultimate available. The Zhonya's is used. He gets chunked down so heavily before the play starts, and then Licorice over the wall, flashes in with the Mega Gnar, a beautiful scoop, catching 2 into the wall, and the fight is done.
Yep, Cloud9 able to chase them down afterwards, and then the mini Gnar here. Licorice gets his speed boost off of Hyper. He's able to continue the chase, even over, to Ole there.
Yeah, I really like the clever use of actually the Abyssal Voyage just for the little gap closer to get over. It doesn't get either of them out, but not something you often see. Had Sneaky with the Quadra here. Honestly, 2 massive Ezreal games back-to-back has been very strong for the team, but they have not been able to convert on advantages when they got them. It's time to find out if they can on this run.
It's the first time all series Cloud9 have won a team fight after 20 minutes, though. And if there's a way to come back, it's actually seeing fights like this. Licorice, of course, with that great TP.
And despite that Cloud9 victory, Team Liquid's still ahead in gold, and they have a surviving Baron buff on Double Lift with which to try and push.
Going to be really interesting here, too, to see how much emphasis is put on knocking down turrets and how much is around preparing for this Infernal Dragon, because that is another really big ticket dragon, and that buff, especially 30+ minutes into the game, becomes exceptionally powerful, but TL have the inside track and will knock down a turret quick.
Oh, the pullback on a Smoothie, but jumps right back out with the team. Gonna get grabbed, though. QSS pop, the ulti on the top lane as well. The Azir turret keeping them safe. Those might not be that they want, looking for impact. Pops the Zhonya, Smoothie stays alive. The nice chomp in, and Ole just keeps the entire team safe. These kills can't be found. A nice knockback. Sven not long for the world, and they're gonna find the first one on TL side. Pope gonna get traded back, though, and that is a more important champion to die. Shockwave gonna full air ball, but Impact is gonna lose his life. 2 more kills in the favor of Sneaky as another slow comes in towards Ole. Mega Gnar is here for the quick stun, and they're gonna get the chase down. Ole's Tom Kench cannot survive this encounter, blast cone or not. 3 more kills for Cloud9.
Sneaky is just on a warpath here. 6 kills on the Ezreal. Now they're going to start up the Inferno. Smithy does have Smite and Flash available.
Is he happy to trade his life? It's going to reset, and there's some vision. Control wards are down. Looks like it's going to be a slower play out of the C9 side.
There's no Smite because Svenskeren is dead for Cloud9. Ooh. Yeah. They don't want to give up the extra kill in exchange.
And I like how they played it. They made sure they baited out the only stealing abilities. The W went down. Okay, time to hit it.
So here it is again. TL with that Baron buff wanted to get the turret down mid. They do so, but the collapse comes from C9 on all sides. And beautiful ultimate from Svenskeren, kind of wrapping it around Ole there to interrupt the Jhin ultimate. And the pressure is just coming from so many angles that you can see a lot of the damage dealers from TL are not able to really focus fire anyone down.
Yeah, and Impact there on the front lines. You know, he gets focused down, then they try and get him out, but there's not much he can do after, and they end up cleaning up the kill anyway. Sneaky getting 2 of those for himself.
Such a beautiful job of finding Probe and left side of the site and finding that snipe. No recall stop for Double Lift. Licorice will remain on the split push side of the map. Equal drakes on both sides, but TL's Mountain Drakes don't do anything in an actual fight.
And we again have it's Sneaky here with another item completed above his opponent. He's on those 4 completed items for Ezreal. He is going to be monstrously strong. Gonna have to see if they can find this pickoff, though, onto Licorice.
Jump into Mega Gnar, but Smithy is here. The stun's in, and they're gonna go for a trade on the other side. Pabota does not have a way out of this fight as the stuns come through. Smoothie waiting to make sure it all happens. Ulti comes across, and that is a kill picked up. Mega Gnar still running in the picture-in-picture. The snipes come through. Double gonna grab that one, so a trade of 1-for-1. Solo laners dead on both sides.
Yeah, picks on both sides, but Minion's not in place, so Cloud9 trying to push through mid instead, and they do interrupt a recall.
But with Doublelift get a wave through, they might not get the turret out of this one. The health bar is quite high, puts in the spells, Vision of Empire helping, and actually some nice, pretty cheeky wave clear out of TL means this turret will still fall, but with not enough minutes to keep pushing forward. Now they jump in for a slow. They've got another one now onto Smith. He has to flash to stay away from that one.
That is dangerous. That Ezreal's so strong. You get tagged by a Braum Q, you could get run down.
Yeah, Sneaky continually arcane shifting in, uses Blade of the Rune King to try and get the slows down to allow allies to hit skill shots. He's doing everything he can with this lead to create openings, take out health bars of the enemies, but Cloud9, they still have a lot of work ahead of them. The gold now basically even, and the Dragons as well.
All right, partial reset here is Baron spawning in 125. Smithy gets some control for himself, but he's just not very tanky. QSS Righteous Glory are his tank items outside of the Cinderhulk.
Another thing worth noting is there's no armor here on Svenskeren. Just now his armor being picked up on Licorice, so Doublelift does not feel like he has to go for a Last Whisper. Instead, he's going for that 100% crit type build. He has his IE, his Essence Reaver, he's going double Zeal, so the amount of damage if he gets a 4th shot on a critical target will be tremendous.
And that has been, Team Liquid drafting double AP solo laners for the majority of this series. We've seen it on the Caitlyn, big damage numbers came there. It's the benefits of being the only attack damage threat. Pobelter, here's the pick on the other side of the map. That was the very beginning. Cloud9 made the collapse just as Team Liquid made the opposite move.
Yeah, trade of kills across the map. Not too impactful, but it honestly kind of has been a bit troubling as a TL fan to see Pobelter and how often he does seem to get picked off in these side lanes, because in their losing games, it has felt to me like a bit of a pattern.
Absolutely, and he's even building strangely. I'm pretty sure, again, that there's no Needless Large Rod plus Blasting One items left in the game. It's the old Deathcap build order. Could just be for temporary AP, but a little bit interesting there. The pull in, though, they might find Sneaky, has to jump right back, and here comes the possible re-engage. But look how low Smithy is, pulled right back in. Sneaky a bit low, has to respect his lifesteal, but has 2 items for that one. Now Ole, again, being run down, has Cleanse, has Flash, Vision of Empire going to miss, and a very low health bar front line. As the chase can continue for Cloud9. Pobe on the wings, that means one of the carries can't join this fight anymore. The safe disengage happens for TL.
The HP advantage could mean they just go straight to Baron. They committed their teleport, so C9 knows they need to get something more out of this. We'll see if they're willing to start it back up.
Ole does still have his Abyssal Voyage, so he can heal up on the fountain and try and get there in time if they decide to fight this.
Shockwave available for Jensen is a huge team fight stopper as Smithy is pushed back. A lot of ults still available. Here comes Tom Kench to rejoin the fray. Jensen in the front line gets rid of the wave clear. And looks like it's going to be the big play, and a Pobelter finds the 2-man shuffle. They got the pullback, and 2 kills already, Liquid. That was absolutely beautiful. Sven's forced to flash, but he's still rooted, and Impact is in for the chase. He's going to get the pullback as well if they want it. Pope's going to find the slow, but the jump away means that C9 remain alive with 3.
Pobelter with the big play goes in. He wants to be remembered further on in the playoffs. Now Team Liquid have priority around the Baron, but Svenskeren is still alive and Cloud9 threatening a steal.
Yeah, they're going to start it up. We'll see if they can get a turn here. TL still not starting, actually. They're trying to bait over the wall. We'll see if Impact can find anyone.
Sven has ult, Sven has smite. This can make it very difficult to play for this one. Sneaky slowed down and will stay alive. And looks like the 3 members kiting well enough. 15 seconds on Jensen, 5 on the Braum of Smoothie. This is the start on Baron, a pullback. This could be big damage on Sneaky, has to QSS, and Arky shifted away. Once again, Sven has the smite. The wards go up and down, and the vision is cleared yet again. They're trying to zone him away. Impact's doing his best as well. 3 doesn't help. The ult coming across the spot. Some more vision. Across the wall, not going to land the smite. Well done by Xmithy. And now the re-engage with the shuffle means an extra kill comes through. Pobelter finds the credit for that one.
Yeah, and they will be able to get out too here. No death's going to be given up by TL, so the big play from Pobelter. Starting it off in the mid lane, TL able to secure a couple kills, secure the Baron, and all 5 members stay alive. So here it is once more. Pobelter, such a long range engage, and he catches not only Jensen, but Smoothie too, and that was just clean Azir play.
And Ole runs in right after him for the Devour, trying to pull him back out, and he goes back in here on the secondary pull for Svenskeren. They were trying to get the jungler and smite off the table. In the end, even with the smite up, Team Liquid have acquired the 2nd Baron buff here with which to push.
Oh, almost a play out of Ole. Eats one up, walks right back out. Elder Dragon is alive, and this looks like that's where TL is going.
Yeah, it really is. And an additional almost 80 AP on both of these solo laners from the Baron buff. It's so powerful, and they're burning this down.
Not even a chance to stop it. The true shot barrage is going to answer false. The Banshee Bill gets popped off courtesy of Double Lift. Deadly Flourish getting rid of that. And now TL have all the buffs they need to make a push for the base.
Team Liquid really showing that they deserve this playoff spot too. I mean, a lot of people thought this was going to be a very close series, yet they have just demolished Cloud9 in the mid and late game here. The macro, this time around the playmaking, just pure 5-on-5 playmaking there from the squad. Very impressive stuff.
It really is, and those are honestly tough problems to fix, right? You know, it is one of those situations where if it is just pick ban or it is just this small adjustment, then great, you can fix that in a week. But there's only 1 week turnaround between the end of the regular season and the playoffs. And if this team is just straight up better at macro play than you, you do not fix your macro play in a week.
And this might be the reason that TL wins is the better macro play. They have consistently performed from 20 to 40 minutes on every single time. They've lost exactly one team that I can remember in that span. And now it's time for the push in towards the Nexus turrets. Mid lane under fire, bot lane in a similar boat, but Jensen's able to clear that wave alongside with Sneaky. Mid lane getting lower and lower, though soon they'll crack the base. And at what point can Cloud9 find themselves in a fight? 1 minute, 10 seconds left on the Baron buff. Elder Dragon, a bit more than that. Small reprieve, but now back into the bot lane. Look at the chunks coming out of the turret. That one's going to fall. Mid lane almost gone. They found a stun, but Ole keeps Impact safe. Will this be the re-engage here for Cloud9 against the massive buffs? They're going to find the stun and Ole looking for the play as Pobuther wants in, as you're mentioning. Really holding the front line, but the health bar is getting lower. Locket pop. He's going to fall the double lift. And look at the chunk down as Jensen's gone. Second time in a row not getting the shockwave in the team fight. Licorice going to be not long for the world either. The chase almost there. Ole wants to flank him. 2, 3 already dead. Kill number 4 as he flashes away, but does it even matter? Because in a 5v2, Liquid can just walk into the base. The Nexus turrets fall, and despite some expectations, a clean sweep. Liquid into the semifinals.
And Liquid, just like that, they're going to be in Miami. They are going to be competing. And Cloud9 knocked out. Team Liquid just looking far too good in the mid game, in the late game. The better play coming out from this team really across the board in those later stages. They were so well organized, so well coordinated, and this honestly puts a target on the back of these teams waiting in the semifinals, because you see a series like this coming out of TL and you're going to be worried.
Definitely true. Really great performances. Nice to see the respect for all the players there, going through with the hugs as well as handshakes.
Now, well played. Hugs across the board for almost all these guys. All right, side for Ole. He turned it around on us, but Liquid, as you mentioned, the better team on the day, absolutely. Smithy's dad might be a Meteos fan, but also pretty happy to have Liquid on his side as well. Happiness abound. A 3-0 run. Double Lift unkilled the entire way through. Another 100% KP game at the end of it all on the Jhin that he got once again. Cloud9 tried to attack through the top lane, and honestly, in some of these games, Licorice looked better in the side lane than Impact, and he had some big plays, but as a team, Liquid was better.
Yeah, they certainly were, and it's just a combination of things. There was great individual performances at times from a lot of the C9 members. Really stand out in the last 2 games was Sneaky's Ezreal. I think was performing incredibly well in both of those matches, but it never came together for the team. TL made the better plays across the map when they had to, and as a result, they come out.
Yeah, definitely honorable mention there to Sneaky's Ezreal. Huge DPS numbers as well, racking up the kills, trying to create plays, but in the end, not quite enough.
Liquid, the better team in the day. Let's send it down to Avali and Team Liquid's Tyrant in the top lane.
Thanks, guys. Impact, congratulations on your victory. A clean 3-0 sweep against Cloud9. Fans love you. I want to ask you, how does it feel to completely knock out your former team from playoffs?
I really like that because we practiced this week really good, and we try focus team play. When you're losing early, we try come back and we know how can play. And yeah, I think we really good show performance, and yeah, good.
Kane was talking a little bit about the team synergy and preparing for that. How did it affect you?
I think we team synergy really good because we selfish player, so we think about we teammate first. So we can just if I'm help Pobuther help me. So we like that. So yeah, that's why we team play really good and looks good.
And we saw you bring out both the Swain and the Singed for today. What was the A lot of Singe fans. What was the decision-making behind those picks, and how did they affect today's games?
Singed is kind of random because they're just spend so much time laner. But I know that I think about their 100% pick blind Fiora. I think about that. And actually Singed is good. I'm just, because we Scream play 2 games, Singed is not too much. But whatever, just give me Singed. This is my pocket pick.
There's your pocket pick, Impact. Congratulations again on your victory. And for more in the game, let's hear from the State Farm Analyst Desk.
Thank you very much, Oddly. Got to feel good for Impact there. The 3-0 over his replacement on Cloud9, taking down his former team and moving along to the semifinals. Team Liquid is. So, hey, a pretty stellar performance for them on the day. Of course, as we've mentioned, a lot of these games were close, and close in different ways and at different points within the game. So it's not like, hey, the most lopsided 3-0 we've ever seen, but they should be feeling good.
Yeah, I think the way they won was a nice win in the sense where it's like, yeah, we don't want to fall behind and have like close series. You want to smash people, but at least they showed that their macro is up to par. And if they ever stomp an early game, hopefully that starts working out in their favor. There are a couple of weird things with the draft.
Yeah.
They're trying to split push onto Azir like it's an Arise. And like, you're fine trading a mid lane inner for a top lane outer potentially, or excuse me, mid outer for top outer if you're building up this Rise's gold, but he's not going to be a split push Rise later in the game. So it's weird to see this a little bit.
Yeah, we kept talking during the game, like, you know what champ would be good here? Rise. It would be real nice to have a Rise in this situation. You know what would have been nice? A Rise to get you out after you snuck Baron. And it did, like a lot of games this series, as Impact said, have a close feeling, but then Team Liquid was able to come from behind and also make big mid-game plays. They lost 4 people here, giving the kills all over to
Jet,
Sneaky.
you know who would be good here, though?
Azir!
Azir!
Rise can't do this.
Yeah, that's a big team fight initiation Rise can't quite do. And this was really huge because TL was struggling a little bit. Impact was having a hard time getting involved in the team fights exactly how they needed to. After they got that fight, they then turned to this Baron. Sven tries to get over there over the wall, could not time it quite right, so he goes down. And then with this Baron buff, they've now made a really big lead. C9 getting a little desperate, want to pull the trigger, but you know, it's pretty much over at this point.
Yeah, you can see how big Swain has become with items. He just walks forward, as well as C9 having to run away from the Jhin ultimate, so not much C9 could do to repel that final push.
You know, and referencing Impact's interview there with Avli, I think it does speak to Kane's preparation. Again, I'll return to some of the things we were talking about on the outset of the day. Was the very veteran practice coach of Reaper on Cloud9 against Kane, who hasn't had as much high-intensity experience in best of fives, and here they come with that pocket pick Singe prepared, as well as, you know, a better understanding of the macro game, as Impact says practice has been going well for them recently.
And it felt like they had a pretty good read on what was going to happen in the series, always having something prepared for C9 banning out all those tanks. Doublelift also reacting well to the Caitlyn bans. Once that gets taken away, the Jhin here working with the double AP mages.
Speaking of the man, let's go ahead and send it back down to Avli, who's standing by with Team Liquid's Virtuoso in the bot lane.
Thanks, guys. Doublelift, congratulations. And with that victory, you and Liquid are back on track to finishing 4th. But memes aside, how did it feel to take down Cloud9 3-0?
Yeah, nothing gets between Liquid and 4th, so, you know, they had no chance. But actually, though, I think we might have overestimated them. That was not the best 3-0 that we've ever done, or I've ever done. It actually felt really messy and, like, really tense. But I guess when coming in, I really thought Cloud9 was gonna like really change up their whole style. They were gonna like, Licorice was gonna learn how to play a tank. They were going to maybe play like a different style, but I think they just really are doing the same shit. I mean, they just gank for Licorice. They're trying to gank Impact. I think we were really like getting in our own heads about like, oh, what are they doing next? What are they doing next? But I think like in the game, we should have just read, what are they doing now? And then the series would have been a lot easier. But I'm still happy that we won.
Still took them down. Now, we heard from Cloud9's side, but I spoke with Kane earlier today, and he said that Liquid's team synergy is the best that it has ever been, and especially for you and Ole in the bot lane. So what can you tell me about that relationship, and how did it affect your performance today?
Well, I think early in the split, we were really boosted, and we were losing every game, 2v2. Oh, not every game, but a lot of games that I feel like against weaker teams, especially in NA, like, I should feel so confident going in that I'll always win 2v2. But then, like, I guess in the last couple of weeks, we really picked it up. I think me and Ole had a lot of like heart-to-heart conversations about like, you know, how should I go about like giving him feedback. And he also really like matured and was able to take criticism a lot better. And I think like maybe in past teams, like with Cody Sun or whatever teams he was on in other regions, there wasn't that same like level of criticism. So at first we were doing really poorly and I wasn't being very productive. And then afterwards, I think we started getting productive. I think like probably like week 7 or 8, we started actually getting better. And so now I guess we're all right. I mean, we're inting some games, but I think some games we're doing good.
Well, you are doing well. You guys looked incredibly strong today. Heading in for the rest of playoffs, is there anyone who can stop you?
No, not for ESM, not 100 Thieves. I think we're already practicing for MSI.
Already practicing for MSI. Thank you, Doublelift. Always good hearing you sounding confident. And for more, back to the desk.
Thank you very much, Avli. Now, throughout the day, we've seen amazing play from our quarterfinalists, but we want to take a moment to recognize the one player who had an exemplary performance and earned player of the series. And today, that was that man there on your screen, Doublelift.
Talk to him.
Yeah, we did.
He didn't die.
That's
the whole
great.
series.
He did not die. My goodness.
In a series that was this close and kind of back and forth with crazy shenanigans happening like this, failing over the wall.
I like that's the first clip we show.
Yeah,
It's failing, failing the net over the barren wall.
All right, but to be fair, not dying in a game that was their series that was this crazy is a big accomplishment, as well as the fact that a lot of the stabilization that came into the mid game when TL was losing was off the back of Doublelift's Caitlyn. They gets banned out, switches to Jin, and also has a great performance. So really impressive to see out of him.
Yeah, very much so. I also kind of, it's very intriguing to listen to him talk about the evolving relationship between him and Olay. I mean, there was no secret around some tension between the two players at the early to mid point of the split, but calling out that week 7 as the marker where things started to change in their mindset and the way that they work together. We're starting to see them reap some of those benefits here in the beginnings of the postseason.
Yeah, it's just re-hitting the way that they want to play League of Legends rather than trying to be these jack of all trades. We can play into every matchup. Just, pick your champions.
Right.
And make the other team get you off those champions. And he's been playing Jin and Caitlyn. He's pretty good at those 2 picks. And then when the other team throws all the bans at your top laner,
Top lane, man, yeah.
I guess you're going to keep getting Jin and Swain and
Makes it easy on you, right?
Caitlyn.
All right, let's transition the conversation to Cloud9 just for a bit, as we are going to say goodbye to them here in the postseason. I do want to talk about this squad. I mean, a lot of heavy criticism levied towards them in the preseason, but then they come out the gates hot and they're occupying 1 or 2, in terms of positioning in the standings. Pretty much the entirety of the split. Have that slide here at the end and now exit in the quarterfinals. What are we thinking with this squad?
Well, I don't think they lost the offseason, but I don't think they won it either. They clearly stayed at roughly the same level. In summer last split, they finished 5th and then rallied a little bit from the Gauntlet in Worlds. And this team, I don't even have that as much optimism for that kind of big rally. So, there's definitely some big problems, I think, on how this team plays in different metas, because we got identified that they can play some stuff really well, but it is a bit of a concern.
What if we isolate to this series, though, Jad? Ignore the first 9 weeks. How do you feel about the way they showed up and played today across 3 games?
I think the drafts and Licorice are going to come under a lot of criticism because it's hard to parse through whether or not they were banning out the 3 top laners because Licorice couldn't play tanks, or whether that was a coaching decision and saying that's the best way we think we can win is if you get split push pressure on Gnar.
Right.
But the fact that you lose the first 2 games, even if they're close, and then not varying the style of team composition in the 3rd game, and essentially never changing your first phase bans in all 3 games you lost, always comes under criticism as a coach.
And I think it makes some sense, too, because they were losing in the late game, and Team Liquid's going to make adaptations, too, and they're going to address some of their early game concerns that they were having, as well as address the fact that, Ole's dying on Nami and Morg, and that's a lot of the plays that C9 was getting, well, put him on Tom Kench, put him on something safer. And then, Team Liquid's adapting to their weaknesses, but it didn't feel like C9 started trying to, read what was going to happen.
Well, results in a 3-0 for Team Liquid. The both of you correctly predicting the team that would take the series. Game score, not quite, but let's take a look at how the bracket is shaking out. Team Liquid promotes to the semifinals, but awaits to find out their opponent after the results of tomorrow's match because of that dynamic seeding. We'll see who comes out on top as the 3rd seed TSM faces the 6th seed in Clutch Gaming tomorrow. We're going to stop down and talk about that series ahead of us tomorrow on Sunday.
Yeah, very quickly, if TSM wins, that means Team Liquid will play 100 Thieves and TSM will play Equifox, whereas if Clutch wins, Clutch plays 100 Thieves and Team Liquid plays Echo Fox, because the highest seed will always play the lowest seed. That's what we mean by dynamic reseeding. But I do think TSM comes into that game as pretty hefty favorites based on the way they finished the regular season. And if this series is any indication, that momentum we saw in Week 9 has carried over pretty strong. We're on the same patch. You have one other week to prepare. It's not like those 2-week breaks we've had in the past seasons because of the promotion tournament. So it's going to be tough to reverse that momentum if you're Clutch Gaming.
What about for the flip side, Clutch Gaming? Top of the day, we saw a little bit of a snippet from Apollo. He says normally he looks at those banners hanging in the battle arena and he says that's not meant for me. But this is the first year, the first team that he's been with where he sees that as an attainable possibility. Of course, a long shot being the lowest seeded team in all of playoffs. But Mark, what are we thinking here?
I mean, it's definitely a long shot, like you said, but there'd be no better way to get your kickstart on that campaign, get your own banner, than taking down the perennial,
defending
finalists
champs too. I mean, that's the
defending
thing.
champs and the perennial finalists. Every single split they're there. So no better way to be like, I want one of those than to beat the team that seemingly has all of them.
And if that happens, then we'd have a new champ.
That's a good point. With
CLG's already
C9
out,
CLG out, and possibly
Two new orgs as
TSM.
well.
All right, well, so if you're hoping for a shakeup in the North American LCS, then you're a Clutch Gaming fan tomorrow. Now, for myself, the cast, and the entire live broadcast crew, thank you for watching. We'll see you tomorrow for more of that NALCS. Good night.
This is really a time for me to prove that I can win and people remember me as a winner.
No one remembers what happens in the regular season.
Liquid and Cloud9. Only the winners will be remembered.